Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the Closing Bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Katie Griefeld.
Hey, let me go to some of the individual gainers. I'm sure you guys talked about it. HIMS and Hers Health and Novo Nordisk. HIMS and Hers Health, biggest move that we've seen, most ever, in fact, intraday, and I'm assuming here at the close, up about 40, almost 41%. This happening after Novo Nordisk was said to have ended its public feud with the company, ending litigation with an agreement to actually sell its weight loss drugs on the HIMS platform. So we did see HIMS, a big move to the upside. Novo Nordisk, which has been struggling as it tries to find its way in what has become an increasingly competitive GLP-1 landscape, it too up about 3.1%. So we've got that playing out. Also, kind of staying in the drugs and biotech space, a lot of movement in the area for some companies, and some of it has to do with the head of the FDA's Division of Vaccines and Gene Therapies set to leave the agency next month. We talked with Bloomberg's Madison Muller. This is a pretty big deal for some companies in the biotech space or the space overall. So Capricor Therapeutics, it's a $1.6 billion market cap, clinical stage biotech. It's working on biological therapies. That one was up almost 10% in today's session. It's been higher all day. And then another one, RegenX Bio, also a clinical stage biotech company, small market cap, about $542 million market cap there, developing gene therapy products. But that one too, the expectation may be a better and some more supportive landscape from the FDA for these kinds of companies and the work that they're doing. That one was up about 20%. And then just quickly, let's go on over to Live Nation. Some news for that one. The company and its Ticketmaster subsidiary have reached a settlement with federal antitrust authorities, according to the Justice Department. The agreement announced, but it would reportedly open up parts of Live Nation's ticketing arm to third-party sellers, make it easier for other promoters to put on shows at amphitheaters that Live Nation controls. And you can see that one whenever you get rid of some litigation overhang, you can see it pop to the upside, up about 6.2%. That's
I'm just going to add a couple honorable mentions too. Just that big move that we saw, of course, in Lumentum earlier today, along with Vertiv and Coherent, of course, going to be added to the S&P 500 at the end of March 23rd.
Well, let's look at some of the names in the red. I mean, this was a day that we ended up seeing a bit of a reversal in the market, but digging into some of the decliners.
You had to scramble to make some changes.
Because we did see a lot of changes. I'm tweaking my names up until the closing bell. But taking a look at Boeing, this is a stock that ended lower by about 2.6% on the day. We got some headlines crossing the Bloomberg terminal earlier today saying that the Iran war has airlines reviewing growth plans as fuel costs rise. We heard that some airlines were considering halting jet deliveries, which we know when we think about contracts with Boeing, a lot of these things are done far out. So really just casting some uncertainty here in the market. Some airlines were said to also pause leasing and order discussions. So you certainly saw that weighing on sentiment here for investors of Boeing, but keeping an eye on all the implications that we've been seeing in terms of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Of course, we got the headlines coming out earlier about what the outlook could be and how long this actual conflict could last. But there were some stocks that, of course, have exposure to the oil space. I'm taking a look at shares of Uber. They ended lower by about 1.7%. DoorDash in focus, that one down about 1.4% at the closing bell. Now, this, of course, is due to the idea that these companies actually have exposure to the cost for fuel, oil, and the idea that these all this pressure could really trickle out into the consumer and make things more expensive. We know Ubers, at least here in New York City, are already expensive with a lot of these surcharges. But thinking about that, just actually coming into DoorDash and Uber and whether or not that could actually weigh on consumers and the companies more broadly. And lastly, wrapping things up, I've got my eyes on Paramount Skydance. We know that this is a story that's really been evolving day after day. If we think about Paramount Skydance and Warner Brothers Discovery, that battle that we saw between Paramount Skydance and Netflix that we know Paramount did win here. So we do see shares down about 6.7% on the day. This is after Tencent said it intends to invest several $100 million.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.